Hey everyone, this is Felix from Break Connect, and welcome to The Switch,
Boom.
where where we find people in the community of hip hop, um, breaking or otherwise, and see how they've been able to turn their passion into a career to sustain themselves, sustain their life and their family. And that's something I'm hoping to do one day with Break Connect.
Today we're joined by nobody. It's just us.
It's
Uh,
just us.
we're doing a little
Uh,
recap episode to recap Game Changer 1.0, the first event.
GameChanger 1.0. Yeah, man. That was that was great. What a good event. Huh?
So
Like,
first, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think people need to know this right off the bat. You were stressed times a billion heading into the event that weekend.
oh
You,
yeah, there was just a lot of things on my mind outside of the event and the event itself.
yeah, I mean, you were prepped more than I've ever seen anybody be prepped. And I've done dozens of events up to this point. I'm never that prepped, but you learned a good lesson. You can never be too prepped because there's always something that will fall through the cracks. I
Yeah.
don't think we should talk about what that something is, but something
Yeah, I
always
don't want to
happens.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna throw anyone under the bus. But some shit, and you gotta roll with it. Like it's funny because everyone that I've talked to that's thrown events, including yourself, I was like, hey man, you can prepare all you want, but some shit's gonna happen that you have no control over, and you're gonna have to figure it out. Um, and yeah, sure enough,
Yeah, something happened
something
and
happened.
you figured it
You
out.
were you were able to figure it out. Yeah.
Um, that was maybe the most minor blemish too of the whole entire weekend because like everything else was a standout. Everything else went so smooth. Um,
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, for those that weren't able to attend, we should probably explain like the idea behind Game Changer when we first like put the skeleton together. It was a launch. This was supposed to be like a very formal launch for features. And the way to really showcase that was to put them to work in front of an audience at an event. And who better to do that than Break Connect, right? So it was supposed
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. It was kind of supposed to be, I mean, and that's what it was. Like it ended up turning into a version of like Apple Keynote, if you will.
yeah. And they just
Um,
did one too. So it's like
yeah,
crazy
I know.
timing.
I didn't even know it was happening, honestly. I found out like, oh shit, Apple had a keynote and I missed it. Um, uh, but yeah, I just wanted a really fun, cool way to introduce these features on Break Connect, and what's coming soon, and just kind of really test myself as well. I think the big reason why I want to throw an event is like, people were asking for it. You mentioned it, and I'm like, if I'm going to throw an event, there's gotta be a reason behind it, you
Right.
know. Um, yeah. So I had like the display mode that I was able to premiere.
Yeah.
I was
Very
able to talk
successful.
about. Yeah, I was so happy that that turned out as well as it did, and the TV like
Huge.
did its job. Huge, huge, beautiful. It was beautiful,
Huge. It was massive.
huge, big ass TV. That ended up being like that worked out. Uh, yeah, and like the judges were able to use the judging system, and that was able to communicate everything. Everything worked the way it was supposed to work.
The beauty of it all was that I think it really showcased what the capacity could be for Break Connect on a big event scale. For a first event, I thought Game Changer had a great turnout. But if another bigger event, like one of those worldwide events, wanted to use Break Connect and have the legitimacy of like a display, oh man, like it's possible. And it looks so clean, there wasn't there wasn't any clunkiness to it that I felt like, oh man, like this is gonna turn people off. No. Um, I mean, if you're listening to this or watching and you didn't see it in any of the B-Boy Network videos or whatever, I'll describe it to you. It's got the screen, it's got crews on both sides. It's got the country that the crew represents, which is really cool. Like at least as an MC, if you always want to go that route of being like, we've got Mexico in the house, you can look at the screen and see, are they Mexico? Is that Canada? Is that Japan? You can see that through Break Connect based on the origin that they've listed in their profile. So you
Yeah,
have that, you've got the crew name, and then you got the results of the battle, and it tells you down to the point differential, like 7.5 versus 10 or whatever, you know? So I thought that was really cool. It kind of shows people like just how close some of these battles really are. And there was one that was like zero point 0.5 points away.
yeah,
Like that could have changed everything, you know? And then another cool part of this is people can, I mean, this has always been the case, but just to reiterate, people can go back, check to see exactly which judge gave them what score during what round. I think that's crazy. That's good. That keeps
yep,
accountability going, you know?
yeah. And this is what's also really crazy. There was actually a tiebreaker in one of the battles
Hmm.
with the points. Like the points, there was actually because what ended up happening was each round went to one of the crews, and then the points ended up being the same. Because the way that the system works is first it like judges by round, and then if there's an equal amount of rounds, then it looks at the points.
Yeah.
That way,
Mm.
and there was only one tiebreaker in the
The
entire battle.
kids,
Like,
right?
yeah, the kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang.
I thought that I'm like, holy shit, an actual tie, and it
I mean,
wasn't like one. Yeah,
that's not really like a very common occurrence when it comes down to actually tracking points. So the fact that we could even put that part to the test, like how lucky, you know? Um,
yeah,
I think the big question mark going into it was would all the features be ready? They were not, but you did do a speech to kind of describe what's coming really soon. For those people that weren't there, I think this would be a great time to fill you in on the near future of Break Connect after Game
yeah.
Changer.
The two other features that I we couldn't get ready in time just because we didn't want to risk having the platform not be ready without proper testing was the
Yeah.
studio profile page and event reviews, both of which are actually in development as we speak. Um, but yeah, like I'm really excited for both features. Studio profile is going to put studios on display in every single battle that any of those kids that are part of that studio are going to participate in. That's going to give all the shine to the different studios. And then event reviews, it's essentially pretty much what it sounds like. But the big difference is the the review is specifically for the organizer. So you can rate them on a like a 1 to 5 scale, the different categories such as music, timeliness, judging, venue, etc. And then you can even like write a blurb about any constructive criticism you have. But the whole point of it, like all that information, is predominantly just for the organizer. Like I didn't want organizers to feel like, well, if I put my event on this and then somebody leaves a negative review, that's going to look bad on me. I don't want other
Right.
people to read that. Like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't want to deter people from coming on the platform and using it, but I do want people to be able to leave feedback and be heard by the organizer.
Which I think is a really cool feature that has not been implemented anywhere. I mean, unless you were going on like Facebook events and someone was writing on the event wall after the fact, which I mean did happen, but that was very public. And I would be surprised if no beef came out of something like that. You know, it was always taken in a negative way if someone did that. So now
Oh,
that
of
you
course. I mean,
have
I've experienced that.
on Facebook, really? Did
Oh
you do that? Did
yeah.
you give someone a negative review after the event was
No,
over
no,
on
no,
the
no. Somebody like I'm not gonna name names, but there was an event that used Break Connect, and to be fair, like there was an issue, and then somebody was like, yeah, I don't think this website is it. And this was also like early stages, and I read that and I'm like, oh, I took that to heart.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, that's gonna happen. I kind of, I wish that person like hit me up, of
course.
versus putting that out there. But also, they had the right to do that, you
Of
know?
course. Yeah. Oh man, that kind of opens up another door. But just to finish this point that I'm trying to make is like, as an event promoter, I've always thought that there should be something like a survey after someone leaves an event. And sometimes people in the hip hop space, there's many personalities out there, and there's a lot of people in the hip hop space that are very much like, nah, man, you're doing too much logistics. This is an event. It should just be vibes and good energy. But I'm just not always a vibes and good energy type of guy. I need like concrete feedback. I need to look at the numbers. Did this make sense? Did this not make sense? And I know there's other people like me out there, and I would love for there to be like a, hey, like, did you have fun? What could I do better? Without having that always be public. Because I'm sure, hey, the breaking world is a world full of vast personalities of different types. I'm sure at some point or another there would be a first person to be like, you know what? I got robbed at this event. I'm gonna leave a negative review. The judges whack, the MC whack, the music whack, my rounds were the best, or something like that, super dumb. So I'm glad that you had that like next level maturity to be like, yo, maybe we shouldn't do that publicly. We should just make this so that like it's constructive and private. Because I would have gone, if I were you, I would have been like, you know what, let's make it public. But that's why you're the main guy and I'm not. You had that sort of oversight.
Well, to be completely transparent, remember when during my speech I thanked this guy Vince, who
Yeah.
was in the audience. So and it's funny, like he hit me up. He's like, "Yo, man, thanks for the shout out, but I don't think I deserved it." I'm like, I think it was one of those things where his initial research, like he actually went around, he asked different promoters, he asked different dancers, like, "Hey, we're thinking of doing this feature, Break Connect. What are your thoughts?" And he said, "Hey, so I got some feedback from people about this feature." He broke it down, and then he's the one that said, "If we make this public, there are people that said that they wouldn't necessarily put their event on Break Connect because they would have this fear of then getting a bad review and then people
Mhm.
not wanting to go to their event." And because he did that research, I mean, like the idea of making it private was always there.
Yeah.
But when he said that, I'm like, he solidified the direction of how I was going to take it. And he also did the initial designs. So
Nice.
I think, you know, credit where credit is due. Like he helped me out with concepting and like figuring out the flow of that. So yeah, just I want to make sure like he gets recognized for that.
Sending flowers to Vince, man. He definitely did a lot of the hard work because
Yeah.
you need people to kind of think at that level. And to be fair, maybe someone will eventually add that to their platform in the future. Like, you know what? Let's make it public. And it'll be more
Yeah.
guerrilla style uh platform in that way. But this could be also considered, I was thinking about this the other day, this whole update that we're doing post Game Changer, it could be like the professionalism patch because it's like a resume or you're doing a portfolio for dancers through the studios. You're doing like professional level feedback privately. And on top of that, professional level display. Like this is all like bringing Break Connect up to a different level that can cater to people that I think are looking for a more formal, like, you know, am I
Yeah.
making sense? Yeah, yeah. They're
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I want to make Break Connect. I want to bring it to another level, but I'm trying to bring the street dance in general, to another level. You know,
yeah,
that's always been it's to have kind of like a main goal with Break Connect. It's always been to raise the ceiling of where street dance can go. And
yeah,
I know we Break Connect. It's called Break Connect. We do a breaking jam, but it is for all types of dancing. I always want to like
yeah.
iterate that. Um, I mean, yo, straight up, I was talking to my mom, who was my parents were at the event. So anyone listening, you missed the chance to meet my parents if you were not there. Um, but she's like, "Oh, could you use this for ballroom dancing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you could totally use this for ballroom dancing. But
You could do it for crumping, you could do it for ballroom dancing, you could do it for, I don't know,
anything that's competitive, this is used for that.
right. Even if it's
Period.
just not competitive, it just requires registration, like
Yeah.
that's the cool part about it. And maybe that would be the next phase of Break Connect is really trying to expand people's understanding of the functionality, you know? Because I think someone's used it for like a basketball tournament before, right? Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Jimbo.
Jimbo? Yeah. And for example, I'm doing a basketball tournament next month. And I know that the way they do their registration is like you pay a fee online, you submit your name through email, and then they put it in an Excel sheet. I'm like, you know what? Eyebrow raised, like I know what could make this process a lot easier, but I don't know those people. Those people kind of they're older, they do their own thing. But
Yeah.
there's potential there. If anybody wanted to do a tournament of any kind, a chess tournament, probably do it on Break Connect. And eventually,
And payments are coming soon, man. Payments are
yeah,
coming soon.
eventually you'll be able to do it all on one platform. And who knows, eventually it might just be called Connect with a K. Who knows,
Oh, this guy.
I mean, he
Hold
was
on.
at the
He's
event. He has insight to give.
socks.
Sucks, yeah. He was helping set up. He was there from the very beginning. I think at one point he had to leave because he was hungry, but I don't blame him.
It was so good to have my dog there. It was so good to have socks there.
Yeah. No, he was
Yeah.
he was in there. We were moving the TV. He was right under our feet. Not necessarily helping, but he was there.
He was there. Uh yeah. Oh, dude, I also need to give a shout out to this guy Carlos.
Oh
He came up
man,
with his three kids.
the goat.
Yo,
Tres
yeah,
coronas, man.
seriously. Tres Coronas. Yo, those kids are so good. But just I was talking to Annie and she's like, hey, you need to email him and you need to let him know how helpful he was.
Yeah. Well,
Cause like I hope he listens to this podcast just so he can hear this part. Um, because just his presence was so comforting. And then when he would help, just like helping with the TV, helping put the TV away, he would just like, yo, what do you need? You need anything? You need anything? And just it was I felt so much easier because he was there. He brought chairs because I asked him to, because I needed chairs. Like, and even his kids, man, even his we saw
his kids
you.
were helpful too. His kids were
Well,
really
his
helpful.
kids, his kids are super helpful. Like, and they're like they're like just these good kids, man. I mean, granted, they're also sick when it comes to breaking,
Yeah.
but they were also just super good, good all around.
Dude. I mean, he
Um,
was a standout volunteer, but all the volunteers I think were really top notch.
oh yeah, oh yeah. This
Like,
is one of those things I was telling Annie, like, yo, everybody had a job to do, and everybody did their job well.
yes, that's rare. I
Everybody
know
did
this is
their
your first
job
event,
well.
but that's rare.
Well, here's the thing, like, I was talking to my friend of mine today, and we were talking about the event, and I was saying, I feel like I got lucky. I feel like something happened, and I mean, I prepared a lot. I buffered our time to start by, buying an extra hour at the venue. I realized we're not getting water, so I made you, me, and Rockstar go to Target to buy all that extra water. I made sure we had healthy snacks. I did a lot of stuff beforehand.
I don't know if you got lucky. I think more so you picked the right people to be involved. For the longest time, one of the challenges that I had as an organizer was picking people to depend on the day of because I always felt a little bit guilty, like, oh man, like this is my thing. I need to find people that also like understand what I'm trying to do, but also understand like what to do without needing so much direction. And I think
Hmm.
that the team that you picked, there were people, they were like, their personalities made them so that they needed very little direction and knew exactly what to do. And the result was perfect. Even with like Carlos, this is one thing that I'm like, yo, like I need people like this. Cause he was like, hey man, I'm just here to do things. I need you to tell me what to do and I'll do it. I was like, man, like you don't find a lot of people like that, just telling you like, hey, I'm available. Let's do work. Just what do you need?
Yeah,
So in
and
a way, you got a little bit lucky, but you picked the
I
right
mean, the
people.
thing is, like, okay, so as far as the people I picked, like New York Collective, I picked them
Right.
because I've been to their events. They've done large scale events, you know, like where they've had like I don't know, so many kids. And the thing is, like events with so many kids and parents, they the way they juggled it, I was impressed. So I knew I wanted to work with them.
Hmm.
And then the volunteers, this is the thing, like, you know, they picked me. Like we put out that
Yeah.
flyer and then
Yeah.
these people contacted me. Um, and I was just like, well, I'm not, yeah, for sure, let's do it. And then they showed up. They showed up and they showed out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you know, and I want to give a shout out to Patricia. Like she worked the door. She asked all the right questions. You know, like this is somebody that has experience working events and did a fantastic job. Now, I want to give a shout out to like I feel like I need to name these people. I feel like, you know, just
Yeah.
saying the staff, like, you know, Liz, Autumn, Patricia, Lisa, you know, Newer Collective, like Rise, Flonetic,
Annie.
Rampage, J Series, who? Annie.
Annie.
Oh my God, yes, Annie. Annie was a boss, bro. And it's great because she would bring things up that I just didn't think of. She's like, "Hey, did you get that? Did you get the staff lunch?" And I'm like, "Fuck, they got to eat, don't they?"
No. Yo, it was so funny because I'll paint the picture for those at home. The night before the jam, I flew in. Rockstar was already had been teaching a workshop. And like Felix mentioned, we were getting water. We got the water. We talked about Subway. We made it to the Airbnb, or not Airbnb, but the loft that where Felix is staying at. And we were going through the checklist of things to prepare. There was a few of those things that were just normal for breakers. And Annie stepped in and she asked very real, very logical, very valid questions about what we were doing. And I was like, you know what? Why do we do things this way? But like the way she was thinking about it, like you need someone to give their input and also just tell you like, hey, this could be done better. And
Yeah,
implement that too, because she wasn't just giving suggestions. There's people in this
she
world
was
that just
giving.
give
So yeah,
suggestions,
yeah.
but she went as far as also putting her suggestions to work and making it easier on you because you still had a checklist to get through. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, shout out
I
to
mean,
Annie, man.
like my favorite thing is when we were at the event and we set up the three chairs for the judges, right? And she's
Yeah.
like, "What's that?" I'm like, "That's where the judges sit." She's like, "Really?" Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's how it is. The judges just sit there and then they, you know, do the thing. And she's like, you have these couches kind of against the wall. Maybe we could use one of those. So then we did. And then she's like, all right, let's put a table in front of him. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. Let's put some stuff on the table. And then I'm like, oh man, she's setting a mood.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It sets the tone of like this is professional, but also, I don't know.
Chill.
Yeah, chill, not too crazy. This isn't like the Red Bull BC1 Thrones that they have, which would be cool, by
Yeah.
the way, if we were doing an event like that. But yeah, the couch there, and then remember we picked a couch first, and then she was like, "This one smells," and I didn't even
Yeah.
think about the way it smelled. So, you know, people like that, I think, make an event process so much easier. Um, and yeah, she was an all-star. Everybody was an all-star. Thank you so much, everyone,
Everybody
for
was an all-star. Man, like and I think that's what it was, man. Like I could have prepared all I wanted to, but I don't think I could have prepared to have the team be as good as it was.
when
Like,
you envisioned the day of the event happening this way, or just when you before the event happened, I don't even know if you can recall what that was like, but when you envisioned the actual day of event, did you think the setup was going to be hard?
I had no idea what
No
it was going to
idea.
be like.
No
No idea.
expectation.
I remember like when I was talking to Flonetic, he because you know originally we had the venue from 12 to 8, and
Hmm.
we were going to open door to 12:30 and end at 7:30,
Hmm.
right? So then half hour for setup, half hour for breakdown, and then I remember like 2 weeks before, I'm like, all right, I got to get the TV up. We got to get this. We got to get that. And I just remember thinking, all I knew was that a half hour cannot be enough time.
No way. Absolutely not.
So that's when I got that extra hour, I felt better. Even though we were late showing
Yeah.
up, we were a little
Yeah.
late. I still felt good because we had that buffer. And as far as, I don't think I thought it was going to be hard to set everything up because, like I also had rugs come out like
Hmm.
a couple days before, and we looked at where the DJ should be set up. You and I did a walkthrough on FaceTime to where the judges would sit. Phonetic
Hmm.
already let me know ahead of time, like, hey man, don't put the judges right in front of the DJ because then their ears are going to get blasted by the speaker. So when we decided on all these things ahead of time, I already kind of had an idea of how I wanted the space to work,
Yeah.
but I never envisioned that it would work so well.
Yeah. I mean, the venue was also beautiful, man. Like,
Yo, oh, shout out to the venue, man. Shout out to Orlando, shout out to Orlando because he had to deal with shit post event that
yeah.
I've been like that I was like apologizing for forever. But yeah, if he ever, hopefully he'll hear this one day and he'll be
Hopefully
like,
he does. Yeah.
yeah.
Orlando had the patience of a king that day because there was just a few things that flew above
And
everybody's heads.
this is one of those things that like I had no control over. Like
Yeah.
this is what they say. Like you sometimes you just can't control everything. And
Hmm.
I think I was frustrated because everything I could control, I controlled and I handled everything.
Yeah.
Everything that was my responsibility, like I did all those things and that
Hmm.
worked out fine. The one thing, and this is like the one thing I did not expect I needed to worry about because for reasons,
Hmm.
that was the one thing that ended up going wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, without any sort of prior experience, there was no way to prepare for that, you know? So it is what it is. I think everybody played their part phenomenally. Prevail, Orlando, you
Yeah, no,
did
for
that.
real. Like everyone showed up.
Yeah.
Everyone, like shout out to Prevail for being patient and for dealing with shit because we were all frustrated.
Yeah. And there's nothing more that you want to do after an event than to like decompress, but that was halting the process, you know?
Yeah,
If
I
anything,
was
it was
like,
making you more compressed.
oh yeah, I was definitely like getting more and more worried. But again, this is one of those things where like no, the people that were responsible for all this, they were not doing their job,
Right.
and everyone else, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I that's why I put Prevail like in our camp. You know what I'm saying? Because he was as frustrated as I was,
Mm.
and we were all kind of like, how do we take care of this?
Right.
And then, you know, like shit happens. I get
Of
that. It,
course.
it
Yeah.
is what it is. But yeah, it was funny.
It was, yeah, fun is a good way to put it. I think to switch to a more positive note, is there anything that like surprised you on the day? Like
I,
positively
I think the
surprised you?
turnout,
The turnout. Okay.
I wasn't like, because in my head, I thought, okay, if we get 100 people, that'll be great.
Yeah.
And we got nearly double that.
Yeah. And it felt very well um like it felt like it was very well populated because that venue was like big, but it wasn't like super big. Like
Yeah,
you could,
the space did its job. The
yeah, there
space
was
did its job well.
four ciphers going on, I think, during the
Dude,
cipher
I have
breaks.
I have no idea how many ciphers there were.
Yeah, I think
Like,
there was four.
yeah, I was so just focused on making sure everything ran the way it was supposed to. That I didn't. I mean, but the thing is, it's hard. It's hard to really take it in the moment because
You didn't
your
listen to
goal
Baby
is to
Girl's
make sure.
advice.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Well,
Baby
she's
Girl.
also done this so many times that she
Yeah.
has the know-how to be like, all right, let me just take this all in. I think when the kids' battles were coming to an end, but even then, like I had maybe a second of this is cool, and then my mind flipped to okay, when do we start the adults 2-on-2s because we're still on a timetable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the tough part. Um,
Yeah,
well, I think the talent for me was like really impressive. I had never been to a New York Jam
Oh
traditionally.
yeah.
So being there and seeing like this is what the local scene looks like and seeing how much talent there is out there. Man, like dynamic rockers, they all mobbed deep and they
Oh
had
yo.
so much talent on that crew. The new Floor Lords generation, like super talented. Monster was there, obviously incredibly talented. Yeah, I honestly was really impressed with the battles and Rugs and SC1.
Oh man, yo, the music. Oh, I knew like I mean I've been to enough enough like competitions, enough events where Rugs was spinning and SC1 were spinning
Hmm.
that I was confident in their professionalism and their music
Yeah,
selection.
yeah, dude.
But I was so impressed just like seeing it happen from setup to breakdown, like and everything in the middle. I'm like, I'm absolutely going to work with these guys again somehow.
Yeah. And they didn't even overlap on music selection. I don't know if you noticed that, but all the songs played in the kids were not played in the adults and vice versa. So I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
like they're two different DJs. So for them to be consciously like making that decision, yeah, round of applause. Ruggs is extremely talented. He knows exactly how to play the crowd. Man,
yeah.
those two guys,
I
man,
was so hyped. And and this is again, this is why I'm saying like lucky because no DJ issues, no
not at
equipment,
all. No,
nothing. Like you know how many events
that's
we've been to that's like something that always happens.
yeah, yeah. I've been to plenty of those. I've hosted plenty of those. Um, it was really seamless, man. Scheduling was perfect. We got out of there. We finished early, so we were able to kind of break everything down with time and ease to say goodbye at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, Shoot, man, I can't imagine a better scenario, to be honest, for the first Game Changer event.
Yeah, same. And it's funny, it's one of those things like after as soon as it was done, I'm already thinking of okay, I know how I want to plan out the next couple, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because it's so fresh.
people need to know that prior to this event, I would be asking you or telling you, you'd be like, oh, the Game Changer. I was like, yeah, this is the first event. And like, I wish people would stop saying first because this could also be the only event. And then I told you, I was like, you're going to change your mind after you finish this first event. Then you're going to open up to conversations. And afterwards, I asked you about it, and you started talking about what it could look like to move forward with Game Changer as a concept. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Are you ready to tell people that? Like, expand on that right now? You want to give like hints?
I mean, yeah. I think like the events are going to because the whole point again, it's is I do kind of want to treat it like in this keynote style,
Yeah.
where the whole point of it is it's an introduction to something new, something big, something
Hmm.
that's gonna take Break Connect to the next level.
Change
And I
game.
want whatever that thing is to be a part of the event, you
Hmm.
know. For this one, we had display mode. For the next one, it'll be something else. And
Yeah.
then, well, hey, uh,
Oh, sorry. The appetizer.
the appetizer, yeah. But also, I want to have kind of like incremental events in between big events. And that for me is an opportunity. Okay, like which event that's already going to happen can I partner with?
Hmm.
You know, I think that's going to be the thing. Like, because the like I said, like one of the biggest things that I want Break Connect to do is to eventually be in a place where it's just like sponsoring events full on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like here's a couple $100 for or whatever, but like here's a couple of $1,000 or here's the entire budget for your event.
Oh, wow. That'd be crazy.
I mean, that's the end goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
There's,
that's the main point of the Patreon is to get to the point where everyone's so bought in that we're able to sponsor 2 to 3 events per month
yeah.
and give those events like 10 grand each. Can you imagine?
No, but I want to see it happen. I want to see
I mean,
that.
it's possible.
It's like, you don't think it's possible until it happens. And I think that's where I'm ready to be surprised.
Yeah.
There's lot to be said, I think, about where we're at now as a platform. And I was thinking about this on the flight back because just 3 years ago, it was hard for there to be an event that you didn't have to be at for it to run smoothly. And you, in your speech, you made this note about how, like, if you ceased to exist, the app would still run seamlessly. And it's a good point to make. I don't know if I would say it in that same way, but we're now at a point where other countries, people we've never met, and we probably might never meet, can put that event on their platform, run it seamlessly using all the features, and you don't have to be there. And there's now we've gotten to the point where people know the platform more than they know you. Someone had responded to my story and was like, yo, that's the guy that runs Break Connect. I've always wondered who it was. And it's like, that's crazy. I think, I mean, because I'm always with you, like I thought everybody knew it was your thing. But to be now in a place where it's like, yo, the brand is almost outgrowing your identity a little bit. Like that's a
Great.
really cool place to be in. Now people have to look up your name through Break Connect to know that it's you, as opposed to like look at your stuff and then be like, oh, Break Connect. So
Yeah.
it's a really peculiar place to be in, but growth has happened a lot within the last few years.
Oh yeah, no, we've it's definitely grown um a lot. And yeah, I think it's just gonna keep growing, and I'm imagining like really big things for it, you know,
Yeah, me too.
and these events are gonna be a part of it.
These keynote style events, eventually you're gonna have to pop out with a whole like clicker and a presentation screen. We're gonna do it right before the top 16 so that people are forced to look at it. It'll be really cool.
I'm gonna get a mock neck.
A mock neck, yeah.
Yeah.
We should also probably talk about the people that are helping enhance this event a little bit. Don Love. Shout out to Don Love.
Oh, yo, shout out to Don Love. Like he hit you up, right? Originally,
Yeah, yeah.
when he heard that about the Pre-Connect event.
Hmm.
And I met up with him. And when, for me, like working with Don Love has always been kind of a goal, just because I've been watching his design journey for so long,
Hmm.
and I've been like, wow, like he's good. He's like a really, really good designer,
Yeah.
and he's really like elevating what breaking can look like. Um, so when he was like, yo, I love what you're doing, like I want to be able to contribute like this, I was just like, wow, I hope he's talking about doing this for free because I cannot afford to pay him what he's really worth. And I said, like, hey man, like this sounds amazing. Um, how much is this gonna cost? And he's like, yo, don't even worry about it. I'm like, what?
Brad
What?
Love, bro. LOV.
Yeah,
No,
I was
that's man. There's not enough good words to say about what he does on his own as a brand, but just how Felix has also followed his design journey. He's one of my inspirations in the design realm. And just how Felix, I've always wanted to work with him. I always wanted to work with him too. So when I pitched this idea of like, yo, like it would make perfect sense for your concept, which is essentially in a way him trying to change the game of marketing for breaking. It's not
mhm.
necessarily like the way events are run, but it's like, how can we market breakers a little bit differently and kind of make more of a hobby out of what it is that we do for people that are collectors, whatever. So I really like that approach. And when he told me about this idea, I was like, yo, like we're changing the game too, but like in a different way. So if we debuted your concept with this event, we've got mutual messaging here. And he was really receptive to it. And on top of that, he's a workhorse, dude. He was like on top of it from day one. The first call, he already had lined up exactly how this was going to go. So it was just like, whoa, dude, like I thought we were going to have to brainstorm. No, I hopped on here, this call, he laid it all out, A, B, C, D. And I was like, yeah, just now talk to Felix. Tell him the exact same thing because this is exactly what he's gonna like. And I mean, I guess we can even say what it is, right? It's not much of a surprise he's been posting about it.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna make Break Connect well, game changer trading cards.
Game changer trading cards, and it's going to feature those that were at the event competing.
Yep.
There'll probably be holographic rares in there. I'm not sure. I believe
Yeah.
so. He's a fan of those concepts. So it would be really fun. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully people can buy packs of those and maybe they can pull like a holographic Bowsy or something. That'd be pretty cool.
That's such a good card.
That would be a
Holographic
sick
Bowsy.
a holographic Bowsy. Yeah. I actually want a holographic socks because he there was a really cool socks photo in there with your parents.
Oh, my
Um,
yeah, with my dad.
the super hollow full art socks card. And this would only be possible through the work of the photographer for the event. Shout out to
Oh yeah,
Still
I gotta
One.
give shout out to Still One, Loretto, the homie. Yo, like such a professional dude. Such like it was like I would ask him, did you get a shot of this? He's like, yeah, bro, I got it. Did you get a shot? I was like, yeah, yeah, I got it, man. I got it. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. He came prepared. He took care of all that stuff. Like you and I were looking through the photos yesterday.
Yeah.
I was hype. I can't wait to start sharing those with people.
Yeah, dude. Like some of those photos, like they're gonna end up on other people's feeds for sure. Like this
For
event will
sure.
definitely be felt. The waves of this event will be felt at least until July 30th. Like people will still be seeing game changer content. Um, and yeah, I mean that I've always told you, like I like to do events in such a way where it feels like a full experience as opposed to just like, oh, it's a competition, someone won money, go home. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the cards, it's the photography, it's B-Boy Network being there and uploading that same night. That's crazy. Shout
Yo,
out to
shout
Josh,
out to
man.
Josh.
What a
There's so many
workhorse.
shout
What a
outs.
dog, man. I mean, this is a place to do it, at the event. This would have gone way too long. People would have been bored. Um,
Yeah.
even like down to the shirts, like those shirts, by the way, I don't know if you're gonna make them available to the public, but buy your shirts.
Yeah. Thank man. Thanks. Shout out to Hoorah, Downright Printing for hooking it up. Not
Yeah,
only was he a sponsor
he
of
competed.
the event, he competed and he printed his shirts. Like one man army over here
Yeah. And he did good at the event too. He lost to the eventual winners. I mean, that's as good as second place to me. Um,
versus, well, I mean, the second place is second place.
yeah, second place is second place. But losing to Monster, hey,
Not bad. Well,
not bad at
Hoorah's
all.
always held it down. Hoorah's always been like nasty.
Yeah, dude. He's always making semis, finals wherever he goes. So I was expecting big things from him and he delivered.
Yeah.
Um,
Shout
damn.
out to all the sponsors, by the way. I just
Yeah.
want to like I know we did like a whole rundown, but I was pleasantly surprised at how quickly people were offering to give
Hmm.
me money for the event. I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is like, oh wow, like people are just going in.
After the fifth, this is cool. You were like, wait a second. This is actually more than cool. This is super sick.
Yeah, this
Um,
is super sick. But then I'm like, oh shit, like I think there was a point where you and I would be talking about this, and you're like, hey man, people are really looking forward to this event. I was just like, God damn it, pressure. All this pressure. Like it has to be good. This event cannot suck.
it's so funny. I think this happened like a year ago, a year and a half ago. I was at a jam in another state and I ran into Mark Maya of the Maya Boys.
Yep.
And he was, he had recognized that I was part of the Break Connect stuff. And he was like, hey, man, like, I don't know when you're going to do it, but you should do an event. Like, how are you an event platform and you don't even have an event to your name? I was like, you know what? You're right. Um, we will, I told him way back then that we will. And I think about that now and I'm like, if Mark Maya of all people, was looking forward to an event, like I could not imagine how many other people were also looking forward to an event. And this was like, I always say that the first event is always like the feeler for people and also for, you as an event promoter. It's feeling to see like what your standard looks like. Sometimes the first event has a certain amount of attendance, And then the second one will increase exponentially because the quality has been communicated outside of those that attend the event. And I think that'll happen here. Like everybody heard, like, yo, this event was dope. The footage looks dope. There was other events happening around the United States that same day, but I think that's also how you get like respect on the date. Like, yo, if this event is dope, I don't want to schedule my stuff around it because I'm going to lose people to it. So if you do decide to continue to do these like 2.0s, 3.0s of Game Changer, I think we can only expect bigger and better things for it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope you, I just, this is my opportunity to give you your flowers. Like your event starting off was like 10 out of 10. And not a lot of people can say that. A lot of people learn and their journey, like, yeah, they get better over time. Not saying that you were like perfect, right? But you were really good, man. Like your event started up here. It's only going to go up here. And I'm just really happy that you did that damn thing because I did support you a little bit, but I was very adamant on you like doing this shit because this is your baby. I'm just
Yeah.
a babysitter sometimes for it, you know, and like this is yours though at the end of the day. So I need you to like do it. And there were so many times where we hop on calls and you'd be like, I don't want to do this anymore, man. Like
I didn't want to do it.
you were so depressed, and then you're like, I gotta talk to this person and this person. I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, dude, you have to do it. It has to be you. You'll understand why. And I feel like now you're understanding. Like I had to do that to learn.
Yeah, no, I definitely did. I still remember like when we were taking that Uber home and I was
Yeah.
just kind of like sitting there and just like all the endorphins just it's like I don't know if they rushed out or rushed in or whatever, but it was just like I just breathed like this the biggest breath I've ever had in that moment.
Yeah.
And then I looked at you and I'm like, is this what this feels like?
Yeah, man, that feeling is irreplaceable. I don't think I could just like accurately compare it to anything else. And the fact that that Uber was like pretty cinematic too. I thought like, you know, crossing the bridge, seeing like the city.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it was, I don't know, it was movie-like. I hate to use that term so loosely, but it was genuinely movie-like the way that worked. And seeing like the decompression physically begin and then like the reward of completion fill your body, like that was cool to see. That was really cool to
Yeah.
see. I'm usually in your position, but because I was just the MC, I was able to also sit back, enjoy the event, you know, help, but also not be in charge of all the like oversight stuff. So it was really cool to be there. And I'm really thankful that it all worked out, you know, like everything from top to bottom was a complete product.
Same, man. Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of usually I am on the other side of it. You know, I've gone to events and I've helped out with Break Connect and stuff like that, but I've never had to be responsible for anything.
Yeah, as event goers, we're like there up until we don't want to be there and we leave for your own event. You're there before the event starts, you're there after the event ends, and you have to see the full process like first person POV. Because I know that I've literally been at events where you're like, yeah, I lost. All right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now he's like seeing everything from top to bottom. And there's like a bit of a new appreciation, I think, for like events. And maybe this is just
Oh,
me,
oh
but
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
yeah, you take things for granted
hmm
until you realize the work that goes into it,
yeah, yeah,
you know? Like you really, really don't understand everything that came before for this
yeah,
thing. Like how many like venues did I have to call? How many um even like the simplest thing like having the fact that I have to go get water the night before the event, that we're like making the trophies the night
yeah,
before the event. We're figuring how to give the money, like all these little things, like all these little tiny things have to get thought through. And it's funny because now I'm like, oh yeah, I know everything that I would do differently. I know
Yeah.
everything that I would want to set up differently. But the other thing is, like, if I do another one, I can't do it the same way.
No, something has to change a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to clean up where you see fit, obviously, but also like push yourself a little bit. Like those trophies that we gave out probably have to look a little bit different next time, right? Like
Yeah.
the quality has to increase on some things. Um,
I have
and
to take
that,
care of my staff a little better.
yeah. Oh, fuck, they have to eat. Oh,
Annie ended up ordering food for them.
yeah,
And
man.
then
See,
she ordered the food. And then she's like, all right, where are they going to eat? I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? They can just eat wherever. No, Felix, you need a designated place for the staff. She
yeah,
did that. She did that.
a green room. Yes, that's very important. And on top of all of this, it's really cool that that was the first breaking event to happen at that venue. Not to say that there won't be more that happen from other people, but there's something to be said about being the first, because people can uh tie that aesthetic, that visual to game changer, no matter what.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of doing like one-offs with venues just because every event visually can look different. And
Hmm.
you can't be like, oh, which event was that again? Because it's like, okay, there's only one there. It was game changing.
Yeah.
So, should we tell people what's next? Like for
I
Break
mean, I don't know
Connect?
what's next. Oh, for Break
Really?
Connect.
I know what's next. We have a pretty big guest on the next episode of The Switch.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. I have been wanting to talk to this guy to get him on this platform for a while. Ever since we decided to do the podcast, I knew that I wanted him as a guest. And on after this episode,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have the GOAT himself. And I'm hold on, before we do
Good.
that, I realized there was one like there's a group of people that we actually have not thanked yet.
Yeah, do it.
The judges.
Of course. The ones that made the event easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a huge shout out to Rox, right? He taught a workshop the day before. And he has some great feedback on the judging system. Just stop thinking about what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Um,
People should know
yeah,
you can
shout
pay
out.
him in pretzels.
Yeah.
You can pay him in
Yo,
pretzels. Just ask him
yo,
about it.
Annie was outside with Rocks. When they were like she was waiting for the food. She told me she's like they overheard somebody say something like, "Yo, did you get the subway?" And she said, "Yeah." He looked at me and then he said, "Reese would love that."
Oh man. For any
But yeah,
future promoter out there, pay him in
shout out
pretzels.
to Rocks, for traveling from Switzerland,
Yeah,
for teaching that workshop, for making the space in that workshop work with all those people. Shout out to Elmo for just coming through, for setting the vibe, for like keeping me laughing. You know,
dude.
he was like just like snapping jokes with me, making sure I was good. Shout out to Mantis for like representing like herstory. Like I know there was like she did like a big real herstory wall
Yeah, that was fresh.
within the venue to kind of like get like a different aspect of it out there. Like the judges
Hmm.
held it down. And I also realized they never really got like a long break.
No, they didn't. We kept it running in such a way to where they were just back to back. The biggest break they had was between the kids and the adults. That was
Yeah,
it.
that was it. And then like because then I would say like 5 minutes, 5 minutes meant 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the judges would like Elmo. I would see like Elmo going ciphering and having a really good time. And I know Manta ciphered a little bit too. Then I'd be like, judges, Elmo, Elmo,
Yeah.
Mantis.
Made their way back to their chair. I think Emma even did like a call out battle. Dude.
For real?
Yeah, I
Wow.
think
What?
so.
Where? When did he find the time?
I think this is after the prelims before the top 16.
Got it.
I saw him
Yeah.
throwing rounds at somebody. I don't know if it was a true call out, but he was throwing rounds.
So
That's
yeah, big
fresh.
shout out to them. Like they did such a good job. They did such a good job. Like they, there was they all have used Break Connect before, but not when it came to like the bracket battles. So the fact
Mm,
that they were able to do that with, and again, to the credit of the system, like you don't need like a huge tutorial,
yeah.
but they did it with no problems. So yeah, big shout out to them. And now I will announce our guest for next time. Olympic winner, Olympic medal winner, two
Michael
time,
Phelps. No, I'm just kidding. That would be cool though if we ever got Michael Phelps
right? If
for
we had
rewards.
Michael Phelps on,
But we have
no,
someone cooler actually, so
I think this person is much cooler.
much cooler.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Two-time Red Bull BC1 champion, representing Squadron, representing MF Kids, Red Bull BC1 All Stars. Vicious Victor is going to be in the building, and by in the building I mean wherever he lives on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna have him on. We're gonna talk to him. I've never talked to him at length. I mean, have you?
I'm excited to talk to him. I've talked to him. I mean, there's like I've already shared why I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yumi and Rox even talked about it when he was here.
Yeah. We gotta save
Um,
that part for the episode though,
of course, yeah, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah. All right.
but that message, I think I heard it when Break Connect just got started, and it was at the Full Force event, the first time they used Break Connect, and that resonated with me so much that I was like, people are people don't know what he's got going on. Like they don't really understand his thought process when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I really want him kind of like to tell
Mhm.
his story.
And that'll be a great time to do so.
Hell yeah.
Well, y'all heard it here first, literally. Next episode, episode 6 now. Nice. Making our way to the big double digits. Wow, that episode 6, and that's our guest. Who are we gonna have for episode 10? That's crazy.
I don't know, but we can think about that next time.
We got plenty of thought processes to get there, but up next, and most importantly, we've got Victor. I'm excited to talk to him. I'm excited to pick his brain a little bit. Um, and if anything, as Game Changer kind of set the precedent for, the standard just goes up. We
Yeah.
continue to go up and up and up. And this is also in regards to the Switch. So not much switching happening here today, but we needed a little bit of a breather. We needed people to kind
Yeah.
of digest this with us. And we'll get back to switching at the next one.
Hell yeah. Hi y'all. Luis, always a pleasure, my brother.
Always a pleasure, my guy.
Uh Thank you. I didn't did I thanked you, right?
Of course, there was a picture of it.
Okay, cool. Because I know like we're ending this episode, but I just want to end it with like a big thank you to you
Oh
because
man.
you pushed me, like every
Hey.
time I was kind of feeling depressed or feeling down about all the shit that I like didn't want to do, but I had to do. You just kind of kept pushing me along, and yeah, man, I appreciate the shit out of you.
I appreciate the shit out of you, man. Thank you for being the visionary. Thank you for guiding the way. I'm just here to support, make things work, make things happen.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.